Yeah, so
Hello, welcome everyone.
okay, yes, so yeah, put the recording on.
Yes, I just switched the recording on. Welcome everyone. So just be aware that we'll be recording this and you will get a copy after the webinar as well. So just be aware of that if you're sharing any information, sharing any screens. Petteri will be running the webinar today, and we have the wonderful topic of the deep dive into the mysterious framing and boarding rules. If you go to the Q&A part of the webinar, there is a Dropbox link. And that includes a folder, right, Petteri, that you will need, that you're showing to us today.
Yeah, that's a support package, and let me show the contents of it. So it is this folder. This is the Archicad file. Then you need to set user-specific setting folder to this one to be able to use. And yeah, if you're using not default data, then please also set the default data to this one. Then you will be able to open and explore the model as I'm going to show today.
Yeah, so I think I'll just hand over to you, Petteri, without further ado. As usual, I'll be here monitoring. Feel free to ask questions via the chat function, via the Q&A function. You can also chat to me directly. And Petteri, I think you're quite happy to be interrupted as well. So do feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand, and we can have some good discussions at the end.
All right, ready to go. I think, or I don't know, does the camera, does it really matter if it's on or off?
No, you can turn it on or off.
Yeah, well, just in case we have some network problems sometimes here at the office, I'll switch.
Okay. Yes.
So today's topics are the boarding and framing rules, and I have prepared this model, having some examples that, as Kaylee said, you can download from the Q&A pane from the Teams top window. So it is, I'm just pointing out this icon here in the Teams. You can find the download link. So let's explore this first example here. So we have some notes here below the element drawing. So main framing rule is number 5, and those I have the web pages open. These are boarding rules, and here we have framing rules. And number 5 here, it explains it's start from left, and if it's horizontal one, then it will start from the top of the element. Then the windshield boards are using boarding rule 1, and what it means is here is that no board edge to the opening edge. And this is the default boarding rule. And if you have many openings in the same element, this will take a very long time, maximum 2 minutes, to find the optimal boarding strategy or the optimal boarding for the wall. And let's see the element definition here first for the framing. And before our big user interface project, the main framing rule is here somewhere, not the most, well, these are not in the order of importance, they will be later on. So where to find help anywhere in ArchiFrame, and especially in this window, is press Alt-Shift F1 to get help from the current topic. And now the help is open from the main framing rule. But these pictures, I hope they help you understanding what's happening here. So the number 5, it was to begin from the left-hand side, and let's put this. This line stuff I did. This is using the spacing, 600 millimeter spacing, so you see the studs that are generated by spacing rule. And this is simply start from left. And then for the boards, how ArchiFrame does this is that ArchiFrame first places these boards related to the rule no board to the opening edge. So these three, then it tries to find the optimal boarding for the rest of the area. Well, here there is no options really, just one option to do it. Let's see the remarks. Yeah, please remember to ask anytime it's okay to interrupt. So the boarding, this was windshield board. Then for the boarding interior, we have, well, first of all, it's horizontal. And then to support, have these pieces to nail or screw the edges of the board. We have horizontal studding here. And the boarding and framing rules, they are kind of pairs. So for example, this windshield board rule number 1, the framing rules that best go with it are number 3, 4, and 5. Let's have a look at this main framing and horizontal studding. So this is quite special one. We have selected to have these short parts at the opening sides to be cut, and that allows us to nail these horizontal pieces always to stud. And the definition used here, this is this layer, and it's using this framing horizontal long opening sides cut. And we have a few options here. The long one, I believe this will make these all the way to the edge of the element, and then this one will add extend those horizontal pieces to the opening edges. And again, yeah, how to find help, what these different options mean. Alt Shift F1, and if we scroll down, let's see, framing horizontal, and this horizontal long example of that one, and then what we are using is this one. And here, this framing horizontal requires some settings to be good to get it usable, and they are these blanks to opening sides 1, 2, 3, and 0, and this one, and this again combination. And let's see the options here. Blanks to the opening sides. So we had number two here. And here, since it's horizontal, the sides we have quite kind of rotated the world by 90 degrees. So the sides are actually in the global world, they are the top and bottom. So number 2 will produce these, and number 3 would produce shorter ones. Then we had a blanks to opening horizontal. With the number 1, we got this short, and with number 2, that didn't get to the manual or is not published yet. Well, we have it. It will be sooner or later there. So number 2 will extend these by the thickness of this horizontal piece. Okay, and then still about this element type, the horizontal gypsum board, how to get it horizontal is simply by defining its size so that the width value is big and the height is smaller. A bonus strategy to that was to begin from the left, with the biggest possible board, starting from the left and then just going on from left to right. And here, this is important to set this to follow none. Otherwise, the boarding would consider these vertical pieces as board edge places. And since the main watching direction was from outside, this is the beginning of the element is actually here when we are looking from inside. It starts from the right-hand side. So this is a full board. And if you wanted to have here some support for these vertical edges, you could use this board edge support back. Now that we are looking from outside, the board is at the back side of this horizontal studding layer. So let's see the settings I'm using here. You have option to make grooves to the supporting or this framing studding layer, or then you
Petteri,
yeah.
We had a question. Sorry, is it okay to interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
Just on the Q&A, it was a question about, are you able to stop ArchiFrame from putting a horizontal piece below the door?
Yeah, here you cannot really stop it, or that could be done using layer offset. So this one is the one you mean, or this is actually the main framing piece. So this is actually the one. So here you could specify layer offsets, opening offset, but then this will be used also for the windows, and there you probably don't want to leave it away. So the best way is to just delete it after you have created blanks.
So you create it and then delete. That's what you would recommend. Okay.
Yeah, today ArchiFrame doesn't really make any difference if an opening, if it's a door or window. That is something we could do with a custom script. With a Lua script, we have a control. There we can put any kind of rules. But yeah, there's maybe something to keep in mind in future development to be able to set different rules for doors and windows.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I was going to add the board support edge to this studding layer. And yeah, I want to be sure that I have the studding layer selected. Maybe this would be best to do in 3D to be sure that I have the correct layer and to see what actually happens. So board edge support back. And yeah, you see the file name ArchiFrame template 28. I finally started this. I started with Archicad template 28 and added something for efficient work. You need to have at least some layers and layer combinations. And here I'll now set ArchiFrame only to easily see what I got here. So I got these to the board edge, and if I show everything here, then you see the boards, and then I have also layer combination showing the boards as wireframe. So you see these added pieces, they are at the board edge. And then yes, something short about this template is, let's see, ArchiFrame elements only. This is very much used by one of our power users who is here today. Thank you, Jan Frode Nielsen. Having the element assembly 3D view is to set the ArchiFrame element objects to show the ID with the different 3D material, and that's made here in the view settings. So we have ID 3D material set to red. And all this could be made as a default from the XML files, and for that actually I just wanted to show you where to find this. So go to YouTube and search for ArchiFrame XML, and it's this one is tell us. about automating those XMLs. Maybe we'll skip it today. And then also, yeah, what I'm using this element drawing layout. This is a bit better than the older ones. It came with the last autumn's yearly release, so we have this looked from out to in and in to out. And this template is able to show the core layer and then 4 layers before the core and then another 4 layers after the core. And here you have settings to set the text we see here. And also you can control which projections to generate. So for example, here we have just one external boarding layer. So we want to create one, but then for this number 2, we set it to 0 and so on. Okay, and let's see. Do you have any questions about topics this far? Then also you have quite a new setting for this horizontal framing. I think this was requested by another Norwegian power user, Marius Irestrad. There is a setting to set the spacing or the distance for the first piece. Let's see if I can find it. So 0 is the default here. If you set something, if you have some special, let's say 300 millimeters to the first one, this will break my the boarding, but 1.2 meters will not. So let's see what happens if I make this change and then regenerate this layer. So now the first one is, if I measure from the bottom of this to the center, it's 1.2 meters. So this is quite new. So you have a setting to set the first. It works for the vertical framing as well. Then the second example here, we have let's see the boarding first. We have changed this ArchiFrame to fill the board to begin from the top of the element instead of the default bottom. And then we start the boarding from the very opening edge. And then we fill these opening tops and bottoms so that this doesn't go to the middle of the stud. Quite typical in Finland, at least, this boarding type. And it requires compatible framing rule, and also it requires these extra cripples. Those you get with this opening support that you can check on for your own element by default, like is done here for the core layer. So here, yeah, we are using framing rule number 9. And yeah, let's see the help for that. Well, yeah, it refers to number 1, so that it will start from the opening sides and really from the opening edge instead of middle of this stud next to the opening. And yeah, I was going to show this opening support. So this is where you can set it by default. Check it here on. And then this is the windshield boarding, which has this strategy. Let's see how this comes. The value of 3,588. So it's combination of boarding strategy number 4, which is quite new, and that is here in the manual, which is not published yet. So starting from the opening edge, like this. Then we have these modifiers. Let's see, I'll shift F1. Okay, didn't I have this the focus here? Let's open again. So 512, this is something I think this could be always on. So this picture shows the meaning of it. So if you have duplicate stud, then ArchiFrame has freedom to place the board edge anywhere in this multiple studs area. So it just helps ArchiFrame to make better boarding. So maybe good to have it always on. But yeah, this is the example of how it may help. It placed the board edge just slightly off from the middle of these two studs. Then 1024, the locked planks. By default, ArchiFrame will put the board edge always to a locked plank, but sometimes you don't want to do that, so this will skip it. And then this 248 will begin the boarding from the top. So let's see what we have, what nodes we have here. Okay, yeah, the same I've already spoken about. And let's measure the spacing. So from the opening edge, the first one, middle of the first one is 600. This is 1.2. And then validate this so small. There is no need for the spacing rule. Starts. So 600 again, all the way to the end of the element. And here we have a full board starting from the opening edges. And if the opening is narrow, this is good as it is. But then, yeah, this board from inside using the default starting from the bottom. Otherwise, this is the same. And here, when we have a vertical studding layer, its framing rule doesn't really matter because you always want to follow the main framing, so have a stud next to the main framing piece. And then, yeah, here I made an example of the wall having wider openings. So this is how ArchiFrame does it. From the door, it goes to the left, then it goes to the right, and here is a narrow piece. The leftover is here. If you want to change it, then you have to do it manually, something like this. But this may be worse to have two unstandard board widths, but to show you. And then here you have to combine these together. And let's say if your board size is maximum 2.3, like I have used here, or let's say 2.4, then you take these boards using the board tools to join these together and then do the same for the remaining. Yeah, there's also a project going on to make this happen automatically, rotate the boards above and below the openings. Okay, that's actually everything I was planning to show. Any questions at this point?
I think there was something on the chat about above the frame, you could turn the boarding 90 degrees. Is that also possible now above the opening?
Yeah, well, that is in theory it's possible. So this will tweak the width of the board to be bigger. So let's say if we do this, did this with rotating, this is something that will be then automated. Manually, this is very clumsy to do. So what I can do is I take this one board and then open the board settings. here we have the rotation angle, so we can rotate it by 90 degrees, and let's see where it goes. And now I want to see ArchiFrame only. And yeah, it came. So this was now we have, this is the height of the board, and it came to wrong place by rotating it. So I'll just drag it to the correct place, and then maybe this is best to do in the elevation. So then I could adjust this, and I'll delete all these. Then you can stretch it. Let's make one extra long, and then update the element. And see the related catalyst. So it is number 10. So here you see its width really is it is the narrow, so it's really truly rotated in the 3D world. So this is something you'll get automatically when we get to this. Yeah, Moreno, I know this, you have been waiting this for quite a long time. I hope the next main release will contain this rotation already.
Yeah, I was just curious about if it works or not.
Yeah, not automatically, but yeah, this is now we have the support to rotate it manually, and then the remaining this catalyst works, and in the CNC, or yeah, well, like a plank, the board can now be rotated and tilted freely as a plan. Okay, any other?
Thank you.
Feel free to unmute yourself if someone has any last minute questions. Of course, you're always very free to send us an email afterwards. You can email Petteri directly, petteri@archiframe.fi, if there's something that has come up that you want some clarifications on. Our next two webinars, the dates have already been set in September and December, and I'll be sending information about those, of course, but they're going to be a little bit different in the sense that we're going to be having some of our super users come and talk to us and go over some of their workflows. So yes, I'll keep you updated on those. Download link again. Thanks for sharing that, Petteri. I'll also put that in the blog post. So on the ArchiFrame blog, you'll be able to also find that link and the embed once I put this on YouTube as well. So if no one else has any questions or comments, I can stop the recording, but just give everyone a moment in case someone has something. Did you want to add anything, Petteri, or any practical advice on people doing any of this?
When you are defining these rules, for example, it's usually you have to try kind of debug and change. So for example, if I make this inner gypsum board, if I make it to follow the horizontal studding and then recreate boarding, you'll see some problems. So you okay, yeah, now that we have these support pieces here, maybe it helped if I remove also those. So let's see then what happens. So you may need to try it a few times before getting it right. So yeah, this is if we have the definition of follow the horizontal studding layer. This is not so intuitive what happens, and it might take some time for you to find what is the reason. Yeah, you can always contact support or bang your head a few times, and then you'll maybe find out that yeah, this should be none, and then recreate boarding, and it will be better. Okay, but if nothing else, thank you for attending from my side, and have a nice short end of the working week.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Petteri.
Yes, thank you for sharing.
Oh, did we have a question at the end?
Not in the QA, not in
Okay.
the chat, I believe not.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.